What's up YouTube, and welcome back. If this is your first time here, I'm Brian, and I would appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps me out as I'm building this channel, and helps keep you aware of all the interesting content that I've got planned and that I'm putting out. So to cut to the chase, today I want to talk about German watches. In the watchmaking world, the Swiss seem to get all the credit, and I don't think that's necessarily fair. If you look back in history, the Germans have a very interesting history of watchmaking. And it's widely known that the Germans make some of the best automobiles around, some of the best machinery and other products. So why don't we think, why aren't watches mentioned in that same sentence? So today I'm going to show you some of the top German watch brands and give you a bit of a history lesson as to why German watchmaking is pretty interesting. So before I can dive into the various German watch brands that we see today, I think we need to go back a little bit in history. Just as Germany has gone through a pretty tumultuous period geopolitically and economically over the last 100+ years, their watchmaking industry has shared the same ups and downs, with the Second World War being a major turning point in German watchmaking history. Prior to World War II, the cities of Pforzheim and Glashütte, hopefully I'm pronouncing those correctly, were the two watchmaking hubs in the country. The German brands Stover and Leico were the two powerhouses in Pforzheim. Glashütte was home to the German School of Watchmaking and many innovators in the field of horology. When war struck Europe in the Second World War, it took hold of basically every square mile of Germany. The watchmakers of Pforzheim were conscripted to use their skills and factories to build fuses for bombs and artillery, along with other instruments for the war. In Pforzheim, the factories became targets for the Allied forces. In 1945, the city of Pforzheim was leveled by an Allied bombing campaign. After the war, Leico and Stover clawed their way back out of the rubble, largely assisted by the Marshall Plan, which helped European war-torn cities rebuild. By the 1950s and 60s, business was good and the two brands were once again successful. Things were different in Glashütte. After the war, Germany was split into East and West. The city of Glashütte found itself under Soviet rule. Glashütte German watch brands would not enjoy the recovery the brands of Pforzheim did. Prior to the war, Glashütte watchmakers made great contributions to horology. The German School of Watchmaking had developed a world-renowned reputation, and one of its teachers, Alfred Hellwig, invented the flying tourbillon. Under communism, the watchmaking skills of Glashütte were consolidated into one large Soviet state-run entity. No longer was precision, brilliance, and innovation the focus, instead low-grade mass production. The next 40 years essentially became a black hole for the fine tradition of Glashütte watchmaking. However, after the fall of the Berlin Wall and much through the 90s, we saw a return to the skill and tradition of Glashütte watchmaking. Many brands were resurrected and several new ones formed. So, next up is a list of the top 10 German watch brands, all demanding respect. It's by no means an exhaustive list. I'm certain the list will be met by some ire with loyalists to the brand I've left off. But with 80 plus brands coming out of Germany, it's not feasible to list everyone. So, let's start off with the Glashütte German watch brands. The granddaddy of German watch brands is A. Lange & Söhne. This is one of the oldest watchmakers in the world, tracing its roots back to 1845. Founded by Ferdinand Adolf Lange and his sons, the company was known for producing some of the highest quality pocket watches of the time. After the First World War, with the changing times, they switched to the manufacture of wristwatches. By the Second World War, they were making pilots' watches for the Luftwaffe. Unfortunately, at the end of World War II, they found themselves under Soviet rule. After the fall of the Berlin Wall, the company was resurrected by the great-great-grandson of Ferdinand Adolf Lange. Now, 2 decades later, Erlangen Sonne is widely regarded as one of the world's top luxury watch manufacturers, with many new pieces fetching over $100,000. Next up, we've got Glashütte Original. This is a relatively new company as far as watchmakers go. This German watch brand was officially formed in 1994. It came out of the East German conglomerate of Glashütte watch companies, VEB Glashütte Uhrentreiber, I think I'm saying that correctly, or GUB. In a relatively short time, it's grown itself into one of the world's finest watchmakers. They manufacture their own movements and command hefty prices, often upwards of $10,000. Next up, we've got Nomos Glashütte. Nomos is another German brand to rise after the fall of the Berlin Wall. They offer clean, minimalist Bauhaus designs. Manufacturing their own in-house movements, they won numerous awards for their sleek, elegant designs. They're also relatively affordable considering the quality you get. $2,000 to $3,000 will bag you one of these fine timepieces. Next up in the list of Glashütte watch companies, we have Union Glashütte. Founded in 1893 by the watch wholesaler Johannes Durstein, his aim was to produce Glashütte quality timepieces that more than just the elite of society could afford. The company enjoyed success up until World War II, whereafter it suffered the same fate as its other Glashütte watchmaking peers under Soviet rule. In 1996, the company was reformed into the German watch brand we know today. It's currently owned by the Swatch Group. $1,500 to $5,000 is the price range you're looking at for one of these. The lower end of the range gets you a basic 3-hands movement with a date function. The higher end of the range bags you a pretty sweet chronograph or perpetual calendar with a moon phase. So, switching to the other German watchmaking city, Pforzheim. First brand up here is Stover. The name is a blend of the founder's name, Stors Walter. The company benefited from being on the western side of the Berlin Wall and the funds provided by the Marshall Plan. Unlike its peers to the east, the brand found success with its Pilot and Bauhaus watches. In recent years, the brand has introduced a wider range of watches, including dress and divers watches. The company mainly uses ETA-based movements, some of which are highly decorated. The majority of their watches run in the $1,000 to $2,000 range, with some models going for a little less. Next up, we've got Leico. This German watch brand was founded in Pforzheim in 1925 by Frieda Lacker and Ludwig Hummel. It was originally called Leica & Co. At some point, the name Leico was derived using the first syllables of Leica & Co. The company suffered the same World War II difficulties of the other Pforzheim watch companies, but was back in business by 1949. It had both ups and downs through the ensuing years, at one point being owned by the American company Timex. It changed hands a few times up until 1988, when it was bought by Horst Gunther, and the company finally regained success, producing quality Pilot's watches. Today they offer quality timepieces at very reasonable prices. The majority of the watches can be found in the $300 to $1,000 price range. Some other German watch brands that aren't necessarily associated with these cities. First up, we've got Damasco. Damasco was founded in 1944 by Konrad Damasco. Prior to starting a watch company, he had developed several applications with high-performance materials in the aerospace industry. Until 2002, Damasco was in a partnership with the German watch brand Sinn, supplying them with hardened watch cases. In 2014, Damasco designed their own movement. The goal of the company is to create highly robust, accurate, and low-maintenance mechanical timepieces. Many of their recent innovations and the use of high-tech materials are protected by numerous patents. The majority of their watches are Pilot-styled and use either in-house or ETA movements. You can pick one up for around $1,000, paying a little more for the in-house movements. Next up, we've got the German watch brand Sinn. Founded in Frankfurt in 1961 by flight instructor and pilot Helmut Sinn. Initially, the company specialized in the manufacture of cockpit instruments and pilot chronographs. Sinn found success against its more established competitors by eliminating sale through retailers and selling direct to the public, offering high-quality timepieces at very competitive prices compared to its peers. Today, Sinn is a highly respected German brand, boasting use by astronauts and the marine unit of the German Federal Police. You get a lot of bang for your buck with Sinn. For $1,000 to $3,000, you'll bag yourself a finely engineered, highly regarded and rugged mechanical tool watch. Another popular German brand is Junghans. This German brand was founded in the 1860s by Ernhard Junghans and his brother-in-law. The brand really came into its own and established its identity when it began working with Bauhaus designer Max Bull in the 1950s. Today they produce sophisticated, minimalist-looking watches available with quartz, solar, and mechanical movements, ETA or Valjoux 7750, based on the mechanical piece. Prices range from $300 for their quartz and solar models up to $4,500 for their top-of-the-line mechanical chronographs. Next one up is an interesting and pretty unique brand, Meister Singer, the single-handed German watch. This is quite a new brand, founded in 2001. The company was chosen to draw parallels to singers in the Middle Ages who discovered new melodic elements. Their watches separate themselves from competitors by using a single hand instead of three. According to the website, this is to emulate the first timekeeping device, the sundial. Minutes are read by using one of the 144 5-minute markings on the dial. Initially, the company used ETA movements, but has since developed their own movements. If you want to pick one up, look to pay anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 for the majority of their models. There are somewhere around 80 German watch brands, so I've just scratched the surface here. It should be clear, though, it's not just the Swiss who know how to make a high-end watch. Right, and there you have it. Some of the top German watch brands. So next time you're in the market for a high-quality luxury piece, don't only look at the Swiss, give the Germans a look as well. If you like this video, please hit the like button below. And if you found this useful, subscribe. I've got planning a lot of other videos with these kind of top lists and best of category type things. So I will see you in the next one. Take care.